Welcome back, fellow jazz bums. We are doing episode number 9. This is going to be our top 5 favorite from the Blue Note 80 series. We're going to get into it. We'll look at how the series came to be, what it evolved into. Before we do that, remember to like and subscribe, leave some comments, let us know what your favorite Blue Note 80 series are. And with that, I'm going to kick it over to Chris to share his screen. And we're going to look at the press release for the Blue Note 80 series to start here.
All right. So the 80 series started in 2019, and this is the initial press release. So we'll look at this real quick and then kind of talk about the different segments of the series. So this predates the classic series that we're all familiar with. It came out shortly after the Tone Poet series started. The first releases were in May of 2019. The cool thing about this series was that Kevin Gray mastered all of them. They were all cut AAA. I don't know if they're all cut AAA. I guess they're all cut AAA where possible, and they were all pressed at optimal, just like the classic series. So
now, when you say if possible, isn't that because some of the releases are recorded later? Like it goes through like 80s, 90s, the early aughts, etc.
Correct. Yeah, I think there may be a couple that were not. So they were releasing these in chunks back then because the vinyl craze hadn't really quite hit yet, so they could do that. So they had like Blue Note debuts. The first drop were 3 records that were the first for the artist on the label, right? And they did the same thing for the second drop. Then they had 2 Blue Grooves, which were, groovy kind of soul jazz stuff. After that, we had Great Reed Miles covers, a couple of those series, and then 2 series of live records, which is awesome, right? Mm-hmm. And then Drummer Leaders 1 and 2. And then again, they finished off the original version of the series with more Reed Miles covers.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
So they were dropping like 3 at a time, which is kind of neat.
Yeah.
They try to do 2 at a time now, it seems like, but that happens about half the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what do you think about the series, Felipe?
Yeah, I think it's important to mention. I think it kind of branches from the 75th anniversary, which was not as successful. I think it was successful when it comes in regards to titles. The 75th was like Music Matters, and they also have 10 inches, which I think was pretty cool. However, sourcing was not ideal, and I think that's why they stayed so well. Source from analog when possible. And then they have to keep moving on. Heavier vinyl, nicely mastered by Kevin Gray, analog sources. That's what people wanted. And I think both Tone Poets and the BN80, they coincide when Blue Note tries to kind of emulate, in a sense, Music Matters. Try to push for the same quality, the same standards, in a sense. So I think it matches Tone Poets and BN80. Mm-hmm. And now, of course, the 80th anniversary has passed. We are about to get to the 85th soon. So in 3 years, right, in 2024. So in 2 years, we're going to be 1.5 year, we're going to be at 85th anniversary. Hopefully there's going to be some good releases. But again, most important is it branches into the classic series, which is something that we're going to talk in a future video with a different purpose, I think, but keeping the same flow, just change the name, basically.
Pretty much,
yeah. And it's almost continuous. If you look at when the 80 series ends, it's the summer of 2020, and then the classic series picks up December 2020.
Yeah.
So it kind of moves quickly into that series. And Felipe, did you have the hype sticker for the Blue Note 80?
Yes, I have one here, Mike. Let me show you guys. This is how it looks like.
Now, do they still ship with that? The 80 series when they repress them?
I think so. If they still have the original shrink, yes, they're still making a distinction. They want to make it clear that this is the case, which I think is quite important. Now with the classics, they put like almost like a 7-inch sticker.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, it's the same series now as far as Blue Note's concerned.
Yeah.
And none of these are out of print. I mean, you may not be able to buy them right now. If you can't find one that you like, just wait because they'll show back up. I know Indestructible was out of stock forever. Remember that, guys? And then like last year, they printed a whole mess of them. I will say there's been a little bit of quality issues with some of these.
Yeah.
Same with the classic series; they're all pressed at optimal, and there's been some issues, but mostly they're great.
And I think there's some records that, although they're not even in the series, they feel like being in the series. Like Art Blakey's Mosaic, and there's another one I forgot the name, guys. One of the brown cover, but Mosaic, and I'll remember. I'll pick it up later.
It's another Art Blakey.
They're not officially in the series, but they're pretty much the same product, and they're
right.
the vaults and pretty cool.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. So I think there's a total of 37 releases for Blue Note 80.
Yep.
Yeah.
So and like Chris said, it was only just over a year, like a year and a half. They put out all of them. So
it's a bunch of stuff and really important titles. Like the number one, whatever, but top tier. But they're like they're neck and neck. Absolutely.
Oh yeah. There's some great ones.
There are some great ones. Hey Mike, why don't you guys start it with your first pick?
Sure, Chris.
That sounds like a great idea.
So my first one, I think it's one of the more popular Blue Note 80s. I see this posted a lot. This was one of the first ones I picked up when I got into the Blue Note reissues. And it is number 1530 with the great cover. This is Reed Miles, I assume. Yeah, Reed Miles cover, classic with Yuta Hip and Zoot Sims. It's good. Zoot, blows pretty hard on this. Side 2, the trumpeter on this is Jerry Lloyd, which I wasn't too familiar with, but he really comes in on the second on the first song on the second side, almost like Being in Love, and really kills it. So this is a great release. You have Egg Thigpen on drums, and I think Ed was the drummer for Monk for a while.
Oscar Peterson too.
Oscar Peterson, that's right. Sorry, Oscar Peterson. Yes, thank you. And then you have Ahmed Abdul Malik on this, and I think he played with Monk for a little bit.
Okay.
So this is my first pick, Yuta Hip, and also just pointing out one of the few female musicians, non-vocalist in the world of jazz that I have in my collection, and I think it's pretty cool. But yeah.
No, it's a great one. I like that one a lot. 1500 series are always cool to get in the 80 or classic series, right? I mean, good luck getting originals of those.
Yeah,
it is possible, and wallet-wise and condition-wise.
Exactly. Very cool pick.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so we had an overlap here, so I'm also going to talk about this guy.
Oh, okay, cool.
Because it was actually one of the first ones I bought on the series, just because the cover looks so cool, and I kind of sampled. I really love the sound, and doing some further reading on Yuta, trying to prepare something, make an exclusive video for her, because I think she deserves. She's a really talented musician.
Absolutely.
She had a really fucked up life, really, really tough life. She lived under invaded Germany. She had to escape. She basically starved. She was playing for bread, pieces of bread, basically. She always wanted to be in drawing and painting. She was playing just to be able to eat, basically. And then she gets to the U.S. as a musician. Before that, she has a son with a U.S. black GI. They were not allowed to take fatherhood of sons, so she had to give away her son like the day after she gave birth. So apparently she had a really, really deep PTSD kind of life, and when jazz kind of into a low in the late 50s, she had to find a stable job to pay her bills, basically. That's why she went work in a factory. It's fascinating. It's really messed up life. Some also romantic affairs with other musicians and people involved. She kind of tried to stay away from all that scene. And about this record is like, feels like a live record. It's just you're just missing the audience, according to Leonard Feather.
And this was recorded in July 1956 at Van Gelder Studio in Hackensack.
Yeah.
And it was released in 57.
So my first pick is Grant Green Alive. This is a soul jazz record from the 70s. It's super funky. It's got, let's see who's on this record. A lot of guys I haven't really heard from mostly. Claude Barty is on tenor sax, Grant Green on guitar, of course, William Bivens on vibes, the great Ronnie Foster on organ, and then Idris Muhammad on drums, Joseph Armstrong on the conga. Announcements by Bobby Green. I don't know why we need to know that. That's pretty funny. But yeah, it's a live record from a club in the 70s. It's just super funky and just has a really cool groove to it. Yeah, that's what I got. What do y'all think about this record?
I love it. I do.
Yeah.
I do like guys like Grant Green, Donald Byrd. I mean, their 70s production. They were really spot on. I do like. Some people think it's cheesy, it's pop, but I mean, they tailor to perfection. Those recordings of the Mizo brothers, I think they're great.
Yeah, I do too. This was in 1970. So that's my first one. Grant Green Alive.
All right. So now we're going on to number 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. This next one here is Blue Note 1533.
Nice.
And we're talking about introducing
Oh,
Johnny
yeah.
Griffin. So this was recorded in Van Gelder Studio Hackensack in April 1956, released in February 57. It has Johnny Griffin. This is his debut on Blue Note, and he's backed by Wynton Kelly, Curly Russell, and Max Roach.
Wow.
And this is a killer session. I missed it when it first came out, and I was waiting for it to get repressed. And this was going for, they crept up in price, like I think like $40 or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I finally found one on that was opened on Discogs for about what you'd pay retail. So I purchased it, got it in, and 2 weeks later they repressed it. So it just goes to show you they're going to repress these things. So if you can wait, it is worth doing that for for the price. But yeah, this is a great one. Another 1500. So introducing Johnny Griffin. Do you guys have this one?
Oh, of course. Yeah, that's an amazing record. I love that record.
I have this copy and I have the Music Matters. I think I need to dump one.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that was my number 4 too. So I'll just go ahead and
All right. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, this record, it's one of the best sounding records in the series too, right? Like,
it sounds great.
and the music's just nuts. I mean,
it's awesome.
Such a great record.
Yeah. Johnny Griffin is a great tenor sax player.
Yeah, I mean, and Wynton Kelly, come on, Max Roach, Curly Russell, it's hard to beat, man.
Now, Philippe, do you have all of the Blue Note 80s?
No.
Do you have most of them?
Yes, I do.
And Chris, you have them all, right?
Yeah, I have them all.
So out of the 37, the fact that there's like overlap here, I feel like is interesting. Right?
Yeah. Well, it could be biased because we all talk about records all the time. And
it's possible.
And I think some of those are like all-time favorites for anybody, right?
Sure.
I know.
Sure.
Yeah. I think, Chris, like you said, if you can grab a 1500, like it's hard not to.
It really is, man. The 1500 is just great. Everyone I have is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, just a curiosity on Johnny Griffin. I think was it 15? Which one? 1550 or 1551? The blowing session. So Blue Note, they would really rehearse and plan the sessions. They didn't have these blowing sessions like Prestige did all the time and others. So I think it's like 1 or 2 only blowing sessions, and one is Johnny Griffin.
I was watching some videos by John DeVore from DeVore Fidelity, who makes those amazing speakers, and he just had like an offhand comment that all the 1500s should be displayed in the Smithsonian. Like that's how like amazing that run of records is. And that kind of stuck with me. So definitely get 1500 records, no matter what they are, if you can.
Yeah.
All right, Felipe, what's your number 4?
Okay, so number 4. So this guy, he played like in hundreds of records, but as a leading musician, he only has 5 records, and out of those 5, only one is Blue Note. I think it's easy to guess. He has 2 prestigious.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Oh, wow.
That's Delight. Art Taylor. Dave Burns, Taryn Tarantino, Wynton Kelly as well. Paul Chambers, Potato Valdez. I mean, this record is like smoking, but in a sense, it's very, I don't know, it has some rhythm, some pace, some cool moments. It's not all the time like on the 5th gear. So I do like I mean, anything Art Taylor recorded, I think his sessions are very, very unique in a sense. I do dig this one. I do dig this record. This is 4047.
Early 4000 series, nice.
Yeah, that's the stereo version. And I mean, he played with as a sideman for Coltrane, Ray Garland,
Yeah.
Griffin, Bud Powell, Donald Byrd. He played in the original Kenny Dorham quartet in 1957, and according to many critics, he defined the sound of modern jazz drumming.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Because Art Blakey, he was one of the greatest, but he came from earlier.
Yeah.
And I think he kind of modeled what came next.
Yeah.
What year did that one come out?
1960.
1960. Okay. That's a
So
great.
right after this one, he fled to Europe to play in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, he's on a lot of those European records. So what are we at? Number 3?
Number 3.
So keeping the drummer-led session alive, we're going to go with the hardest working man in all of jazz, Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers.
Oh yeah.
This is Indestructible, very famous record. A lot of people pick this one up.
Mhm.
It has a killer lineup with Art Blakey on drums, Lee Morgan trumpet, Curtis Fuller trombone, Wayne Shorter tenor, Cedar Walton piano, and Reggie Workman bass.
Mhm.
This is, I believe, the last record Art Blakey led on Blue Note.
Yeah.
It was recorded in 64 and released in 66, so a couple of years later. What's cool on this is who has the credits on the song. So it opens up with 2 Curtis Fuller songs. If you're not too familiar with Curtis Fuller, look into his lead work and then also look at his sideman work. He's on Blue Train. He has some great Savoy led records. He's on a lot of records as sideman, and his discography is awesome. And I think when I first got into jazz, I kind of dismissed the trombone, just thinking, wasn't as interesting as sax or trumpet. But Curtis Fuller will change my mind. And he is one of my favorites. And that's actually why I picked this up, is because he was sideman on it. So he writes the first 2 songs, The Egyptian and Shorty. Then it goes into a Lee Morgan song to finish out side 1.
Yeah.
Side 2 starts with a Cedar Walton song, and then it ends with 2 Wayne Shorter songs. So just a killer record all around. I think Wayne Shorter, this was his last recording session with Art Blakey, and then he went to Miles's second great quintet.
Yeah.
So it's just a cool. It's a great record. Has great background, great lineup, great everything, and it sounds really good.
Yeah. So this record is on his last for Blue Note. I mean, you can feel the bitterness. He was very bitter towards the label at the end.
Okay.
You can feel that in his punch, in his drumming. That it's quite.
Okay.
It's a very emotional record in a sense, and also with his new lineup. He had kicked out of the band, Bobby Timmons. He had kicked out Lee Morgan, so Freddie Hubbard had taken over, and Cedar Walton. There was a transition period, and Shorty was taken off as well.
Yep. Yeah.
No, that's a great record. It's just like a barn burner too. It's just pure fire. Man.
Great pick.
Yeah.
All right, so my third record, actually there's a couple of records, but I picked this one. So this is In and Out.
Oh yeah.
Joe Henderson.
I'm waiting for that one to get repressed.
Yeah, this is freaking amazing. It's got him on sax, obviously. Kenny Dorham on trumpet, Richard Davis on bass, and Elvin Jones on drums. Really, really amazing record. This one came out in 1965, and it's right around the time that like this came out. Smokestack by Andrew Hill had come out right around this. Jackie McLean's record, Destination Out was right around this time. So Blue Note was really starting to explore the more avant-garde stuff, and this is a little out there, but it's for an out record. It's very accessible. I think Joe Henderson's really good at making those out there things sound like normal music. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
So that's a great one.
Great lineup.
Oh, yeah. for sure.
It's a really good one. I like this one better than Inner Urge.
Oh,
Really? You like this better than Inner Urge?
I don't know. There's something there. I don't know. I just like the sound. Maybe just the sonority. I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, Inner Urge is another record that's in the classic series. If you don't know, if you guys don't know about Joe Henderson, that's really good too. I like that one more than this one, but they're both great.
Number 3. Let's go for this guy here. And Lonnie Smith, live at the Mozambique, one of the live ones.
oh yeah.
That's a double. He recorded this one in Detroit at the Mozambique Club in 1971. It's an amazing record. I mean, he is really groovy. I mean, his style. That I think was one of the first record, one of the last records before he changed his name to Dr. Lonnie Smith.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not the same person as Liston Lonnie Smith.
Nope.
No, and it's great. George Benson's here is a really smooth, really enjoyable. I mean, all his sessions Think as well. Do you guys have Think?
Yep, it's great.
Think
I
is
know.
so like
No.
fun to listen to. You know, you can never get tired of it. I think it is really, really good.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite records. I was gonna pick that one, but I figured you might, so I did not. It's really good. I mean, it's super funky. Like Grant Green Alive is like phase 1 for me, and this one's like just phase 2 and like a whole nother level. I love that record.
Yeah,
Pretty
and I
great.
think that George Benson really adds something extra here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's beautiful. You need to get it, Mike. You should buy that record. So there, I've said it. You should buy all these records that you don't have.
All right.
All right, what's your number 2, man?
Yeah.
My number 2. All right. We're getting serious now. Number 2.
Yeah,
Blue Note 80.
I guess so. Yeah.
This is a great one here. So we're gonna go a little bit more out, and we're gonna show, Andrew
Perfect.
Hill Smokestack.
Yes.
I do
This
not
is an
have
amazing one. This is one to get. I found this in a record shop when I was up in Toronto for work, and I knew it was sold out. I've been waiting for it to be repressed, so I was really happy to pick this up. This was recorded December 63. It was released August 66. And that's a 3-year gap between the two. And I was recently listening to a Joe Harley interview, and he was saying that Blue Note, one of Blue Note's like favorite sons was Andrew Hill, and they would record him so often, and they wouldn't be able to put out Andrew Hill every month, so they would have to basically cadence it out with the other artists, which is why some of those great sessions were shelved and put out the LT series, or not put out until they were picked up by Japanese reissue labels. So this having a 3-year gap probably fit into that reason. So this is him, and it's pretty unique, as Andrew Hill is. So Andrew Hill piano, Richard Davis bass, Eddie Kahn bass. They play simultaneously on all the tracks.
Wow.
And then they have Roy Haynes drums, the great drummer Roy Haynes. And there's a few songs that are dedicated. So there's a song called Ode to Vaughn, which is dedicated to a sax player, Von Friedman. Vern is dedicated to his first wife. And then 30 Pier Ave, the last song on the record, is dedicated to the Lighthouse. So the address of the famous Lighthouse, the jazz club out in Hermosa Beach, California.
Oh, cool.
The address was 30 Pier Ave. So some dedications on this. And yeah, it's a cool one. 2 bass players. It's definitely not the most out there stuff Andrew Hill has ever done. It's very listenable. It's really cool. It's interesting. So definitely check this one out. And when it comes back in stock, definitely pick it up.
Oh yeah.
So look at what number is that one?
So this is 4160. So later 4100 series.
Look at the back of it now, and look at the numbers on the related records of his on the bottom.
Okay.
What are those?
4151, 4159, 4167.
Yeah, dude, they put out a shit ton of Andrew Hill, like really cool.
And they're all really good. So Blackfire,
really good, man.
which is a tone poet, Judgment, which I don't think has seen a reissue.
I think it's on
Judgment, both
Music Matters did it, right?
And Point of Departure is also
and that's coming out as classic series soon.
Yep, it is very soon.
This one's killer. I mean,
Yeah.
they're all great.
Yeah, that's the Music Matters too.
Yeah, that's a great one. I almost picked that one. It was between that and In and Out, so that's perfect.
Yeah.
I love that record, man. It's such a
Yeah, it's really good.
Now, if you were recommending a little bit of an out there record for someone, would that be one that you would recommend for them to start with, or do you think Out to Lunch maybe?
No, I mean, I would say this. I mean, I would have no issue recommending this. I think because it's rhythm section only, right, with two basses, that I think it's not going to be harsh. You're going to be able to listen to it, and there's really cool stuff that they do, and it's recorded so well. This sounds fantastic. Yeah, out of the ones I've shown so far, that Johnny Griffin and I think Andrew Hill are like outstanding in terms of their sound quality.
Very nice, man. That's really awesome.
That's pretty good. Good pick. Good pick.
So for my second pick, I picked this record here, Basra, by Pete LaRocca. This is one of my favorite records, period. So Pete LaRocca was a drummer, and he had Joe Henderson again on this with Steve Kuhn and Steven Swallow. So Steve Kuhn's, I'm going blank. Steve Kuhn's a piano player, and Steve Swallow's a bass player. Those two guys made tons of records like in the 70s and 80s. So this one came out in 1965, but I see it as kind of a gateway between the two kind of eras almost with Steve Kuhn and Steve Swallow on this. Famous story about this record. I think it was LaRocca and Steve Swallow. It was one of them. They dropped acid before they showed up to the session. And I mean, it's a fucking amazing record. But Rudy almost kicked them out of the studio because Steve Kuhn crawled up in the piano and started plugging the strings. So,
yeah, no, you can't do that with Rudy.
You can't do that with Rudy. He was like, "Get the fuck out of my studio."
I was watching the Creed Taylor documentary, and somebody went up and asked to like change something on the mixing board, and he kicked the entire band out.
Yeah.
That makes
funny. But I mean, seriously, do you have this one, Felipe?
I have the BN80 and the Music Matters. So I might do my BN80 pretty soon.
Yeah. What do you think about it?
It's amazing. One of my first BN80s as well, and they're fascinating. It's fascinating.
I need to pick that one up.
Yeah, it's really good.
This record has a vibe and a sound quality. I mean, it's very unique. I mean, there are many recordings by those guys, and
no, and there's not. I think it may have been his only record he led. I could be wrong about that, but
yeah.
There's also another really rare and good session with Pete LaRocca, the Turkish Women on a Bath or something like this. That record is super hard to find. There's some 70s reissues that are cheaper, but not so much cheaper.
Yeah,
Dynamite as well.
I haven't heard that one. Well, what's your number two, Mr. Felipe?
My number two came out in 1962.
Nice.
That's his official debut. And I think we know who you're talking about, right?
I don't know. I think I do. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Watermelon Man.
I mean, this has like the ultimate riff, I think in jazz, probably the most recognizable song in jazz, Watermelon Man. And come on, it was his first session. I mean, his first leading session, right? Freddie Hubbard, Dexter Gordon, him, Butch Warren, Billy Higgins. I mean, the sound of this record, the level of how it's played, technique, especially the guy like Freddie Hubbard, right? I mean, it's Herbie's first solo, so it's not like so much his very best production, but you can see the songwriting here. It's just very average, kind of standard stuff. But I mean, this is so good. This is so good. And his next record after this one was the one that came
apart. Yeah.
Point of View.
My Point of View. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Point of View. And soon after, he
which
got
is a tone poet.
Yes. Soon after, he got the invitation. Hey kid, come join the quintet.
Man. Very good.
Mayo saw him and immediately took him. I mean, immediately.
Yeah, it's an amazing record. I mean, Herbie's just a gift from the universe to all of us. It's a good record. I like that record a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, he himself, he should be in the Smithsonian as well. I mean,
absolutely.
Look at his body work, and he's one of the only guys that kind of thrived in the 70s in the middle of all the mess, right?
Mhm.
When jazz
You
really
know, here's a
downhill.
trivia question about Herbie. He is the longest owner of an AC Cobra, the car.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He bought it brand new, and he still got it. So that's pretty
That's
cool.
so awesome. He was awesome. I mean,
He bought it with the money he made from Watermelon Man.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Very cool record, Felipe.
Yeah, yeah. Has an amazing career.
All right, Mike. What's your number one?
Number one.
Top of the
This
heat.
wasn't that hard. I kind of knew I was going to pick this one. I think this one, it might be the best sounding one. I mean, it gets, you're edging each other out, but this one sounds really good.
All right.
I was really blown away by this. We're talking recorded in June 1960, Freddie Hubbard, Open Sesame. Tina Brooks, McCoy Tyner, Sam Jones, and Clifford Jarvis. It's just a great record. I mean, it's his. I think it's his second record on Blue Note. Let me see. It's first record, 40/40, and yeah, it has Tina Brooks on it. It's just a great session. It sounds so good. Highly recommend grabbing this one. And yeah, this is my number one, without a doubt.
Cool.
Yeah, it's an amazing record. I mean, this is my number one too. So,
is it?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
100%. That record's fucking amazing.
It is really good.
Record, I mean, just the title track, "Open Sesame." I mean, it's like Blue Train to me.
It is so good.
It's like familiar to me and just amazing. Love this record. So everyone should buy that. All right, what's your number one? Is it Open Sesame?
No. I tried to go a little off the beaten path, and I pick up this guy here.
Oh, very nice. Yes.
Oh, cool.
This is a great record. I mean, another session like the That's the Light. They're on fire here. It's so good. I was reading about the recording, and on Trompeta Toccata, pretty much even like the producers, the musicians, they start dancing. I mean, during the session, it's so good. It's really, really, really an amazing record. Joe Henderson again, Tommy Flanagan, Richard Davis, and Albert Heath, one of the Heath brothers.
Oh yeah.
And
it's not
a great lineup.
It's a little surprising how Joe Henderson showed up so much.
Yeah,
it shouldn't be because he's amazing, but yeah.
And I mean,
great record. What is that? 62 or I can't remember.
It was 1964. It was his final album as a leading session.
Oh wow!
It was his final leading record, and I think it stands to the test, and it is a really nice testament to his body of work. He has a little bit of everything he did there, and they seem so much at ease, so much engaged, and having fun. Pretty much having fun, which I think is fundamental.
Very cool.
So
I'll pick that one for top 5 too. It's a really good record. I need to listen to Kenny Dorn more, I think.
Yeah. And I do dig this record. I think it was, I had to listen. It wasn't the first ones I bought on the series as well, and I had to kind of mention it.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's awesome too that Mike has 6 of these records, and you picked 2 of the same ones I did. So I mean, just the good stuff's good.
Yeah, and Felipe, we picked the Yuta Hip one together.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
I'm just wondering, is that a record that the 3 of us would pick?
I mean, there is a record that's missing from the 3 of our.
And I think everybody might be wondering about it, right? Where the heck is that?
Yeah. So this one,
right?
we put above our number 1 picks.
Yes.
This is a Jazz Bum recommended record, so you can put that on the hype sticker.
It's got the stamp, yes.
Yeah. Let's show it.
Here we go.
That's number 0, guys.
Yeah, number 0, man.
This is the ultimate Blue Note 80.
Yeah. Inventions and Dimensions. Who wants to talk about this record first?
Well, so it was recorded August 1963 at Van Gelder Studio in Englewood Cliffs. It was released in 1964. We have Herbie Hancock on piano, Paul Chambers bass, Willie Bobo drums and timbales, and Chihuahua Martinez on percussion, except for track 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this record summarizes everything. With this good sounding, good playing, good music, badass beginning to end. I mean, it's just so creative, so um, yeah, it just like gives goosebumps to just think about the music when you listen to it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, after this video's over, I'm gonna listen to this record.
Exactly.
It
That's
is
yes.
fucking outstanding. It's just so good. I don't even know how to describe it.
Yeah, and also the
Succotash.
picture, even the cover's awesome.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that freaking
Look at
picture
that.
of Herbie standing in the street is just amazing.
Do you guys know where the picture was taken?
I
Exactly.
mean, it's definitely New York. It's probably. I mean, honestly, it looks like it could be 42nd Street or a wide avenue, maybe like 8th Avenue or something. It's hard to tell. I'm sure we could probably look it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must be on the internet also somewhere, Wikipedia or whatever. You might be able to find out.
The thing that's cool about it is inventions and dimensions. I mean, it's not out there at all, but it's just different, right? It's like
Yes.
super Latin infused. I wouldn't call it bossa though, right?
No.
No, but it's got that feel, and man, it's just I don't know. It's unbelievable.
It says it's unusual because it's prominently featuring Latin percussion while
Okay.
not being a Latin jazz album.
There you
Rather
go.
rather presenting Hancock's further exploration of modal jazz and post-bop idioms.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's really like odd in a sense, like weird and different, but it's very pleasant. It's very accessible. Anybody can listen to this and be surprised. I
Yeah,
think.
for sure.
All
That
right,
makes
so
the description
that
is
pic-
much smarter sounding than what I would say, obviously, but that's perfect.
that picture was taken on the east side, 42nd Street.
All right.
I don't know what avenues between, but yeah, probably if it's on the east side, maybe like Lexington or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the location.
It's number 0, the best of the
That's
best.
that's number 0, guys. If you don't have it,
Highest recommendation.
go get one. Don't worry. Go anywhere. Get any copy. It's gonna sound amazing because this is seminal. All right. Final considerations.
Final considerations. Okay, yeah, I've got some. So this was just scratching the surface of the BN80 series. There's 37 records. I mean, then the classic series has a crap ton more. If you're new to jazz or new to collecting and you want to buy Blue Notes, this is the best value you're going to find. They're $25 to $30 a piece. They're all analog, cut by Kevin Gray, pressed at a factory in Germany. The sleeves are kind of crappy, but for $25-$30, they're tough to beat.
Great value there. Great value.
Leave your comments below as to what your top 5 are. Did we miss any that you think belong in the top 5? What do you think of Inventions and Dimensions?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
And like and subscribe and all that stuff.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Thanks
All
for
right.
watching.